Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Oh my goodness, I'm huffing and puffing here. I just remembered at the last minute that the cat had knocked the cord out of my microphone when I was doing my last thing. Or he was in here jumping around, and so I had noticed last time I did a live that my microphone was not plugged in. So, my goodness, as you pop in here, let me go ahead and I will send myself over into the Crafty Bunch group because that is where we are going to be able to watch everybody today. So, I am streaming today on Facebook and YouTube. So, and my YouTube channel is the same, both places. It's My Artful Adventures. So feel free to pop over there sometimes. I probably have more things right now that are lives than they are just recorded and uploaded videos. But I think I'm going to be working on that pretty soon and adding a lot more stuff over there. I think that makes sense since, our things are short lived over here on Facebook these days, right? So just one moment. Now put me over there, for sure over there. And I have something fun today. Today, our event is called Adventure Awaits. And so it's all about travel. Okay, so it's travel related, travel inspired, I guess I should say, right? Travel inspired. And so, that can cover so many fun things, right? So we are going to get started in just a minute. So following me is going to be Cheryl with Mama P's Crafty Creations. She's going to be coming up just as soon as I am. And the best way to watch everybody, you guys, is to watch in the Crafty Bunch because all you have to do there is to simply refresh your screen and you'll be able to watch everybody. And I know I've started at a funny time today. Hi, Lisa. How are you? But it just, that's how it turned out. We had somebody that who she wasn't able to join us today. She had a doctor's appointment crop up. And I have found out recently that that is kind of a problem for some of us because sometimes you're just at the, you've got to take those appointments when they come up. And so that's not always fun. It's not always what we would like to do or our choice. But some of these doctors, once you get into some of them that are specialists, you just have to take what they say they're willing to give, right? Hi, Sue. Good morning. How are you? So today, you guys, I have had something for a long, long time that I have wanted to work on, and I just never really could decide what or how I wanted to do it. So I am going to put you down here to the, hang on one second. I'll get us going. Don't worry. It'll happen. It'll happen, you guys. Okay, so I'm Christy here from My Artful Adventures, and I am so excited to be hosting our event today, the Travel Awaits. So, hi, Susie. She's joining us over on YouTube. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Maritza. Looks like we got some people popping on. So, I'm going to put you down to the desktop so we can see what's going on. You guys, look what I've got here to work on today. It is an old, let me move my coffee and get, where's a safe spot? Hang on one second. I'm going to put it behind me. Oh, good thing I looked behind me. I got my other stuff back there. Oh, and I should fix my phone. So, okay, that's good to go. Now I just have to remember to turn my phone back to where people can reach me. One day my granddaughter asked if I had taken her off of my favorites. I go, what are you talking about? She goes, it wouldn't let me ring through. And I laughed. I said, oh my goodness, I did a live and I completely forgot to turn it back on. Hey, Lindy, how are you? So you guys, look at this. This is a little old train case that I picked up a long time ago. Look how it's just so odd looking. I mean, it almost looks like it was paper covered in the first place. And while I'm thinking about it, or while I'm looking at it, I think one thing I need to do is add a tiny bit of glue in this area to get that to lay down there. So I thought about, I'm a big time paper crafter, and I thought, oh, I'm going to cover it with paper, and I just dreaded having to get it around these little things. And then I thought, you know what? I'm not going to put paper on it. Now, I might paper the inside, but I thought, you know what? I'm going to do something different. We all should try different things, right? And I am going to paint it. And then I thought, oh, well, what color should I paint it? I'm going to paint it a really bright color. And then I decided, no, I'm not. You guys, this whole thing is like, it is. It's like it was papered with all of this. Isn't that odd? I thought this was a super textured thing, and I never really had looked at it that closely. And look inside. So here's its little latch right here. It's a real simple little latch. I wish I knew what the brand was, but I've not seen anything that tells what it is at all. But look at this cute little pan in here. And you guys, this is so funny. Look at what, oh shoot, what I do with it. Oh, I set it out of the way. Oh, when I opened it up, I had some things in here. And look what was in here. This is only a postcard. And I thought, oh my goodness, how appropriate was that for our day, right? But I'm just going to start today by painting it. And I think I will need to paint around the edges. You guys, this papery stuff, I almost wonder. Now the inside, I'm not even going to probably tackle today, right? But anyway, I think it's going to be super fun as we go through it. And I don't expect to finish this today. But I promise I will do things and work on it live, okay? Because some of you might have something like this. And I think sometimes when we work on things together and kind of talk it out, I think sometimes as a group we come up with better ideas than sometimes what we can come up with on our own. And I think this is going to be a fun thing. But I will tell you one thing I'm going to do. I'm going to paint it this off-white color, and it needs to have something to give it a little bit of antiquing looking, right? Hey Jen, how are you? You love doing that too, huh? But you guys, you know what kind of stuff I'm going to put on it? And I'm not going to do papers or anything on the outside. I'm going to put some doilies. I'm going to add some texture. Now this one looks like it's probably going to be too big, and I'm probably going to have to cut them to make them work. But look how cute this would look. Like to put some like around the sides. What great texture is that going to be? So I got a couple of new brushes that were I just went to the big mart, the big W Mart, and and you guys, this is my first time using chalk paint. Everybody says chalk paint is the best because you don't have to do anything to it. There's no prep work involved. And I thought, well, good, because I don't want any prep work involved. How about you guys? Oh, I wish I would have gotten some water. I have no water here for my brush. Okay, that's okay. This stuff dries really fast, this glue. And as I'm putting my doilies on, I might be able to just, lay one over there. Oh, you guys, this is going to be so fun. Okay, let's get going. I think if I do the lid first, and you guys, I am not even going to worry about the handle. I'm either going to, add some paint to it. I think I'm just going to paint the whole thing. I want to cover this with something, probably some kind of fibers or something fun, right? We want it all to be fun. What do I say that all the time? I feel like I do. Well, girls just want to have fun, right? That's what we like to do. I have a feeling I should probably get out my wet wipes though. Now this color, this is that Waverly brand, and it was called Plaster. So while I was standing there looking at the colors, okay, here we go. We're just going to start. While I was standing there looking at the colors, oops, it's dripping on me. I thought, well, I don't really want, well, white looked too white. Does that make sense? That crazy. That's always funny. I always think when I say, that white's too white. But you know what? If you go, do you get paint samples and you get the paper or like, the brochure that's white? Oh my goodness. It's like a lot of them. Oh, this looks super white in my monitor. Okay, this is not that white. Hey, Jackie, how are you? Hey, Cheryl. There's Cheryl. She's going to be on next. So we are just going to start in here. And it says that you need to let it dry between coats, right? So, which that makes sense. Oh, and I've already got it on the handle, so you know what that means. That means I should just plan to do it all. Handle and everything. Which I think, from what people tell me, I think the chalk paint is probably a good thing to use for that. And this, you guys, this is such a small little thing. It is much, when I got it out this morning, I knew where it was. And when I actually got it out, I'm like, oh my goodness, that thing's a lot smaller than I thought. Well, you know, we always talk about it. Seems like people were small. Ooh, I don't want to get all that on there because I'm going to need to be using that handle. I'll just do that later. But look, it's easy to make strokes all the way across. So you guys, while I do boring painting, let's just visit today. Let's just visit and have a good time. Yeah, I don't need to, I'm not going to worry about you know, using any painter's tape on this or anything like that. When I get the, and if, I'm sure this is going to dry pretty quick, so then I won't have to worry about that handle flopping down there. Let's just visit. Hey Peggy, hi Lisa, how are you? So you guys, what have you been up to? Tell me somewhere, here I want to know, tell me somewhere that you have traveled to that was maybe your most favorite place. Because we've all gone somewhere. I mean, I don't care if it's the next town over and it was a lot of fun. Tell me where is somewhere that you went that was your favorite. Yeah, I can tell I'm going to have more than one coat on here, you guys. So, and you know what? I honestly, I had not decided what I was going to do with it. I mean, like I said, I knew I wanted to work on this, but I didn't know in what way, shape, or form. And so I only last night decided that I was going to paint it. So we ran over to Walmart because I knew, because by then it was kind of late, and I knew that I'd seen this Waverly chalk paint there before. So I thought, you know, just get over there and get it, right? Isn't that how we do stuff? And you guys, you can only see that. Let me close the class. There it is. Okay, Carrie says Niagara Falls and Disney World. That's fun. I have been to Disney World, and my middle daughter and I rode one ride. We went and saw, was it Mickey Mouse's Home? We went and saw that while everybody else rode rides. And do you guys want to guess what our, and who knows if it's even still there, who wants to guess what our mild ride that we were brave enough to ride on was? I've never been to Niagara Falls though. That'd be fun. I bet that is amazing. You know, there's so many things that you see pictures of and you think how amazing they are, and yet, you know, if you get to see them in person, it's even more amazing, right? And I don't want to goober up this too much because it still has to work, right? So I guess this would be a good time to like open it and close it a little to make sure that we don't get it all goobered up and painted closed. Now I think as I begin to put those doilies on, who else? As I put the doilies on though, I think, you know, we'll be able to cover up some of the things that maybe don't look the best. But yeah, this is not going to cover in one coat. Who else has a favorite place that you've been, that you've traveled to? I tell you, my husband, I'm a little bit jealous. You know, he was in the Navy, and oh my goodness, he's been all over. Well, for one thing, when he joined the Navy, he was stationed off the West Coast, and so he went to things on that side of the world. And then when he signed up for, I don't know, 2 or 3 more years, I don't remember which it was, then they sent him to other places. Well, then his ship, he was assigned a ship that was on the East Coast. And so they go to different places. And he just had the most marvelous experiences of places he got to go, and places that you wouldn't think, if you were in the Navy, you would be. But just really cool. I mean, and I just think that's wonderful. He just enjoyed it so much. I know if we wouldn't have gotten married, he'd have stayed in. But with a family, and if you want to be there with your family, it's just kind of a hard life to be gone all the time. Because he'd be gone, like, when a ship leaves on a cruise, they are typically gone on their long cruises for 6 months at a time. So a lot of times when he would go on one of those, I would go back to Denver and stay with my family. So, and then our youngest daughter, or no, not our youngest, our middle daughter was born in March while they were on a cruise. And I had gone ahead and gone back home in January because he was getting ready to leave on another cruise. So I went home. And so she was like 6 months old before he ever even saw her. And then it wasn't too long after that then he was done finally. So yeah, that's kind of hard, to have kids and not even get to see them until they're 6 months old, right? Okay, let's see. Peggy says she's been to Hawaii, Disney World, in California. Or no, wait. Did you go to Disneyland in California, or you're just talking about California in general? Blissfield. I don't know. I've never heard of that. Oh, and Sue says Badlands, Yellowstone, Mount Rushmore were all memorable trips. Cool. I know. When we took our kids to Mount Rushmore, they go and they look at it and they go, okay, now what? We're like, oh my gosh. We thought it was fabulous. We thought it was really wonderful. They were totally unimpressed. That's the way kids are, right? I don't know. We're always sometimes we're way more impressed than the kids are about things. I don't know. Okay, you guys. Now, if I want to, once we get this coated enough with the paint and all that jazz, what do you think? Because I know a lot of you are crafters. So, what do you think would be the best way to kind of give it some color to age it a little bit? Do you think I just should add a little bit of ink to it? Like some distress oxide, or, just give it a little bit of inking like that? Or do you think I should do something else? Like, I know they make these kind of antiquing wax. Now, I don't know if the waxes are very waxy. I'm a little bit leery to use some of those because I don't know if it'll make it harder for my glue to stick putting the doilies on. I just don't know. What do you guys think? Hey, Susan, how are you? Oh my gosh, jury duty. I got out of that not long ago, but it was just local, but I didn't feel good that day and I was able to get out of it. I saw the fun stuff you're doing at the art barn, Susan. You're moving it, or I think you've already gotten it moved because you had to for summer camp. That's so cool. So Maritza says they went on a trip to Cozumel, Mexico. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, we did finally go on a cruise in fall of 2019, and we did have a lot of fun. Been to Canada, Japan, and France. I've been to Canada and some places in Mexico. That's the extent of my international travel. Janet says she's been to New Zealand. Oh, fun. Oh, it was a cruise. You know what? I didn't even know they had fjords in New Zealand. I always think about those being like in, around Norway. What do you guys think, though, about doing some antiquing on here? What do you think? You love all vacations. I know. Sue, isn't that, could there really be a bad, well, there can be. See, when I was growing up, every time we went somewhere, we had car trouble every time. And then when we got married and we made our first trip driving to where we were going, where we were going to live, we had car trouble. And I thought my husband was just going to die. And I said, I hadn't ever been on a trip that didn't result in car problems. So that was just the norm for me. You guys, and I apologize. This is not, the best, but I said, we'll visit, we'll talk about this. And this is, I'll tell you what, and I think this is going to be so fun. But yeah, anybody, if you've got some tips on, some ways to kind of do some antiquing to make sure that we'll still be able to, have glue stick to put those on there, be sure and let me know. I want to know. Okay. So I've got the first coat on here. Yeah, and I think when I do that next coat, I think it's going to cover it very nicely. Okay, so now I wanted to pop this open so that I can, look at this tiny tray. Is that not the cutest? And plastic. I would really love to know more about this little case though. Okay, now this, I wonder if I would be better off to just try and leave that and paper over it, or who knows, I might put fabric on it. I think I might glue some of that down. It's not that bad a shape, and so if I'm going to do that, I can just go ahead and, do my paint here and not worry about that, because I need to paint the edge here while it's open. I gotta make sure to pay attention to what time it is. So Cheryl at Mama P's Creation, she's coming up after me. Okay, let's see. Hey Jeannie, how are you? Good morning. You love home the best. Who said that? I gotta move that so I can see. Wendy loves home the best. Home is great. And boy, aren't we always glad when to get home after we are on vacations? Always, I think. I think we always are. So, I go down, I have a friend who does some crafty retreats, just a small group of us. And there's a house that we rent out, and basically we just kind of split the house, split the cost, and there's nobody there to do cooking or anything, but it's a fully stocked kitchen of, everything you need. And so we usually team up in pairs and do several meals. We usually only have like kind of a brunch, and then, supper is what we all plan on. And so when we do that, it, that makes it not too bad for cooking, even though, it's fun to go places where nobody has to do the cooking. But even if you just have that, and we usually have kind of like pizza on the Thursday night. Not everybody gets to come on Thursday. And so we do something easy. And then on Saturday night, we usually go out to a little restaurant that is not far. And so we just always have a good time. And, it's just I think the place can accommodate, if I'm not mistaken, I think it will accommodate up to 10 people. So, and, I asked one time, I said, how in the world did this lady get this house next door to her to be able to use like this? And she said that her husband had grown up there. It had been his parents' house, and so they had built right there on the property too. And so yeah, she's got this whole place that's right there handy, so she can, deal with that. Really fun. Oh, Carrie says she's missing. Hey Nancy, I don't remember if I said hello. Welcome on in today. I think let's go ahead and brush a tiny bit more just to the inside. Then no matter what we're going to do there, it'll be painted down. Just a tiny bit. Okay. Can't even see there. Can't even see what I'm doing right there. I think you guys have a better view of that than I do. Let me see if I can tip it a tiny bit. Tip it. So you guys, we have got just such a great lineup today, and I can hardly wait to see what everybody does. That's always kind of fun to see what everybody's ideas are. But you know, there's all kinds of travel related things. You know, papers and postcards and oh my goodness, just, you know, maps. I don't even know what people are going to do. And sometimes I like to have an idea and I'll have everybody kind of share on a grid so we don't have, you know, so many things that might overlap. And so you as viewers get a great variety for the day, although nobody ever probably gets to watch everybody because we all have stuff, right? And if you are watching lives for anybody, be sure and just, you know, put hashtag live so they know that you were there. We all like to know that we had friends watching, right? Carrie says a train case always reminds her of her mom. She had a white Samsonite one that she used to take on vacations. You know, my mom had one of those little green ones, that little odd color of green that was the hard-sided Samsonite. She had one of those. I don't know what ever happened to that. I used to have a little red one years ago. I don't know what happened to that one either. I sure wish I had it. Of course, you know, it wasn't like these, but still would have been fun to do something with. And then my grandma had one that is this light blue color, and my middle daughter hooked onto that one, and she uses it for a jewelry box. So she's got a bunch of jewelry in there, and I mean, it works great. So all her treasures are in there. I love it. It's kind of her treasury jewelry box type thing, right? I think all of it is dry enough. I can tip it now and do the inside. I know, remember that? And when I first started doing this, I'm like thinking, is that what they called them? Why do I want to call it that? And yeah, I mean, I started looking for them, and yes, that's what they were called, was a train case, which is so hilarious because, like, by the time some of us, you know, were traveling anywhere, we probably weren't taking a train. My little red one like this never saw a train. How about you guys? So where else? Let's see. Some people have told us where their favorite places they have gone have been. Oh man, I got globby paint right there. Some of this is hard to like go down a tiny bit. I hear Mr. Cat meowing away. Told him he could not come in here. He jumps around and does didos that are not very handy. Not handy to me anyway. Okay. I know, and you know what? People that had, oh man, that light is in that fan. That's kind of annoying. You go, if people had luggage, you know, that was really cool. I mean, a lot of times, a lot of people just did not, you know, have any kind of luggage. And so, you know, sometimes if they went somewhere, they had to borrow like a suitcase. I'm going to put a little more glue in here because I think I am going to leave this in and just go over it. I think if I try to take it out, it's just going to be a super big mess. I don't really like big messes. The sweet little mirror. See one eye in it. They were smaller, and if you go to any tour, any historical homes or anything, it is truly amazing, especially if they have got furnishings that were original to the period. They're very small. I mean, these little bitty things. The beds were much shorter than what we have beds now. Um, you can tell even like where the light switches are placed. They're like very low on walls. It's just really interesting how much. And I read, it hasn't even been that long ago, kind of the average height of people. Um, kind of around the turn of the century, in the 1900s. Oh my gosh, this is so funny. My oldest granddaughter, she had a little girl she was spending a lot of time with, and the little girl says something came up about when Chloe was born. The little girl goes, "You were born in the 1900s?" We just died laughing, going, "Oh, well, we never really thought about it like that, but yeah." Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. So you went on an antebellum home. Oh, that would have been cool. I bet you enjoyed that. Where was that, Carrie? The hormones in our foods, yeah. Where did you go on that tour? Let's go ahead and do this bottom part. Okay, I haven't seen anybody helping me with ideas for ways to give this a little bit of an antique-y look. Come on, you guys. I know some of you are crafty. I know you are. Sometimes, in fact, I'm going to be honest. I know some of you, you'll share your work in places, and I'm like thinking, I don't know why I'm showing people how to do stuff. Here's a person that could probably outshine me on any given day. I'm just willing, right? I don't mind. And I don't mind if I don't know all the stuff. Sometimes I know all the stuff about something and I don't mind sharing, but if I don't know, I don't mind telling you. I can find out. If anybody has questions, I have a friend I've known seemingly forever. She always tells me I'm her best resource person. I can find out stuff like nobody else. That was way before Google even. Now we got cheater ways to find out stuff, right? Not really, but it's a lot easier to access information. I almost wish don't you wonder what I bet you this was just thin little wood was what this little thing was made out of, and then it has this weird papery cover. I really thought that one part was more textured, kind of like almost like a little tightly, thing, burlap fabric or something. So this is, yeah, I got lots of this. It's not dry. I think, yeah, I don't know. I'm looking, I'm watching. What do you guys? Oh, it was in Louisiana. Oh, my daughter went down there and did some tours like that. She really enjoyed that. Carrie's a teacher. Her students can't believe she was born in the night. I know. When we say it like that, it just seems old. Makes us seem really old, doesn't it? Hey, Rose, how are you? Hi, Cheryl. Rose, I am just... Sue. Sue says she can't help me on that subject of antiquing it a little bit. Yeah, I'm just not so sure. Maybe a little bit of, lightly inked won't do the trick, because I don't need it to be, and I just want it to be kind of hit or miss, right? I don't need it to be a full blown antique thing. And there's a little bit more right there. Thank goodness I already decided to give it a couple of coats, because yeah, it'll catch places. That's like That's like all the things you do. If you do it once and you miss it, you hope to get it the next time, right? Get it something next. Hey, Nyla, how are you doing? Nyla's going to be up later, you guys. We've got so many fun people. So if you're just popping on, I'm redoing this little tiny train case. And when I got it out, I was surprised that it mostly seemed like it was just kind of papered in the first place. It must just be a tiny little thin. And you know, let me get the ruler. This is just so tiny and petite, you guys. It's not even, it's like about 10 3/4. Well, maybe on the outside edges it might be 11 inches. And just a little over 6. It's just small. It's not nearly the size of some of those other ones that we've had. Hi, Pam. So, yeah. Pam, I have something I'm going to be sending you today. You guys, I've been so slow. I haven't even finished getting all of my invoices done from last Friday's sale. I feel really awful. I feel really behind. I don't know why. Oh, Michelle says she loves to redo those kinds of things. You guys, this is the first one I think of something like this that I have actually redone. That's kind of fun. So I don't know how it'll turn out. I'm not a pro at doing those kinds of things. Hi, Stacy. You guys, oh, I don't know. I must have allergies or something. My nose is kind of drippy today. But I am really excited to see how this, is going to turn out. And like I said, I promise I'm going to do these live because I just think that it would be more fun, together. So I think I am going to get another coat of paint on here for, Pam, I'm glad I saw you and let you know. I'll get that done today. So it'll be ready. So I'll send you a note when it's ready, hon. Thank you. Thanks for being patient. But these little things like this, I am going to put another coat of paint on. I'm not going to make you watch me do that. What do we always say? It's like watching paint dry. Truly, that's what this is today, right? Watching paint dry. So I'll get that done, and then we'll go from there. But I think it'll just be fun. And, maybe, I make mistakes all the time in my lives, and things don't always go according to plan. So perhaps if I make mistakes along the way, it will keep you from making the same mistakes, right? So that's always kind of how we hope that will work out. But yeah, I mean, it's not looking the best right now. But and for those of you who didn't hear, so once I get this done, I want to kind of give it something to age it up a little bit. I'm not sure if I want to use, some of the, and this was chalk paint, and I don't know if I want to use like one of the waxes to antique it with that's a little bit darker color, because I'm afraid if it's kind of waxy, I'm not sure how it will be to glue stuff on, because then we're going to start adding some texture, this type of stuff for texture, and just kind of, add it along here. I'll have to cut some pieces. It'll have to be cut at some of the areas. And I think that's going to be so fun. So we're going to add some doilies and probably some laces to it. And when I'm done, I'll probably do some fun treatments around the little handle bases. I might wrap something. I thought this was more flat. This is a little, see, now you can see it's a little bit more contoured right here. And so that's a little bit harder to, for some reason, you think you know what something is until you actually get it out and you start playing with it and it's hands-on, right? So I just thought this was like a little plain handle. So it wasn't, and I wanted to wrap some, like cording or twine or something around it. But with it being like that, I'm not so sure that would be the best idea. So I'm not sure exactly now what I'm going to do. It's going to have something besides just paint. I don't want it to. I know. Maybe I could make a fabric cover for it. Ooh, wouldn't that be pretty? I'm just getting ideas all the time now as we're talking about it. Who else has some ideas they want to throw at me for dealing with it? Oh, Rose, I hope you're doing better. Yeah, you got to watch that blood sugar, right? But I think that'll be fun. And seeing this was kind of a little medium-sized one, and it seems huge on here. I will have to cut them if I want to use any like this. And look, it's even wider than this. But I'll have to cut it where it separates. And that, I don't mind if it wraps around. That's kind of cool. In fact, I like that a lot. But I will have to cut it where the box opens. Oh, you know what? Oh gosh, you guys, this would be cool. If I put this on here like this, and I could use a blade, or if I can mark where it's cut in here, if I could just cut it and have it extend right there, wouldn't that be cool? It look like the whole thing is on there. I don't know. Would it be better to do that or just have separate pieces? But anyway, I can tell these smaller ones are going to be better. They're going to fit on here better. The little smaller ones. So I think I still have some of those. And you know, they're pretty pliable, you know, because of what they're made out of. Like this one right here. Look at this. Just messing around with it right here. Whoops. Just messing around here. I can kind of, you know, I can tell that it would be easy to get it glued in that corner. And I don't think it's, well, you know, I suppose if one went down over, here, I'll show you. If this goes down over the top here, that really wouldn't matter. I only have to glue it onto this part, right? And if it extends down there, as long as it just is right there, you know, I think that'll be fun. Phew, you guys are probably so tired of listening to me talk. Oh, you got that doll we used to have a long time ago, Chatty Cathy. Sometimes I feel like I was named incorrectly. But anyway, Michelle says she painted hers and it all cracked. So definitely more than just paint. Oh. What was the base of, what do you think the base of yours was, Michelle? What do you think, I honestly think this had just been in paper on here to start with. And what did you use for paint? Now I'm curious. See, this is why I said sometimes we get more ideas and more info when we crowdsource. Hi, Betty. So it's kind of fun. Yeah, so all of you that are popping on here at the end, this was a little old train case that I've had for, gosh, you guys, I don't even know how many years ago I found this and snapped it up. And this little, you know, it's got this little plasticky tray that fits in here like this. Just tiny, tiny. I love, look at the way that mirror is held in here. These funny little clips. But you know, those aren't even like screws. Okay, well that's gonna be, I wonder if it twists. Okay, well that's gonna be difficult to take out and paper under. Well, I don't know. I might have to, well, I don't know. That's sad. I was thinking that would be easy to deal with, but I'm not sure. I'm not so sure that's going to be that. You use yours for all your bling and embellishments. Cool. You know, this had a bunch of stuff in it. It had a bunch of 6-inch paper pads in it. Why is that like? No, this, putting this in here is enough of a, that closes hard like that. That's interesting. It doesn't close the best with that little tray in there. But it will. I know that it, because that's how it was. It was just in there and closed. Just gotta snap it down. So, you know, and I might just buff on something pretty on there too. You guys, it's almost time for me to sign off here with you. Thanks for hanging out with me. And thanks for bearing with me on my, like I said, it wasn't really a last minute project because I knew what I wanted to work on. It was kind of a last minute project because of what I was going to do with it, or how I was going to accomplish that, right? I don't know. We do stuff like that, don't we? We just kind of and we can. That's because we're crafters and crafty people, and we can just change at a minute's notice. Okay, you guys, it's time. It's 12 on the dot for me right here, and so it's time for Cheryl. So let's, if you're in the crafty bunch, which is the best pace to be watching, just refresh your page and you'll find Cheryl. Thanks, you guys. I'll see you later. Bye bye.